How does the Tour de France overall classification work? The general classification? I'm going to give you the details you need to know so day by day you can calculate the classification times and determine the yellow jersey winner. The yellow jersey, the iconic jersey, what they call the maillot jaune in France, that's the most important jersey in all of cycling, the one that's awarded every day at the Tour de France, and the one that every cyclist in the world wants after 3 weeks of racing around France. After each stage, the overall times are calculated, recalculated to see who wears the yellow jersey for the next day. Some basic principles to keep in mind. It's a cumulative classification. Every day, the time it takes for the cyclist to finish the stage is added up to his next day's time. Also, at the end of the day, whoever has the lowest time, well, he has the yellow jersey and is able to wear the yellow jersey in the next stage. And there's a twist because each stage there are bonus seconds offered on the line, and on some days there are additional bonus seconds, and we're going to break all of that down. In doing so, I want to look at the 2023 Tour de France. Let's start by taking a look at stage 1, when it was Adam Yates going away with his twin brother from another team, Simon Yates. Well, it was Adam Yates who got the stage win over Simon. We'd never seen that in cycling, but never mind the twins. What we're looking at are the times. So Adam Yates wins the stage. He wins by 4 seconds over his brother, Simon. Adam Yates, because it's day 1, he gets the yellow jersey along with the stage win. And if you're looking at the classification, he's there on top of the overall. The general classification is what it's called, by 8 seconds over Simon Yates. Tadej Pogačar sitting there in 3rd place at 18 seconds. But you're saying he finished 4 seconds ahead of Simon Yates. Why 8 seconds? Well, we're going to talk about the bonus seconds, 10, 6, and 4. Each stage, the bonus seconds are on offer except for time trial stages. So at the 10, 6, and 4, Adam would have picked up 10 seconds in bonus. Simon would have picked up 6 seconds in bonus. That meant Adam had an additional 4 seconds over Simon. Adding to the 4 seconds that he had, the 4-second gap on the finish line, that meant he was now 8 seconds ahead of Simon Yates in the overall classification. And the bonus seconds, well, it's not a bonus, something added on to your time. It's subtracted from your overall time because remember, the goal is to have the least amount of time after 3 weeks of racing. You want to finish the stage in a quicker time than your rival. So there he was at the end of stage 1, leading by 8 seconds over his nearest rival, who happened to be his twin brother, Simon Yates. Each stage, the GC will shake up. In addition to those riders going for stage wins, riders are going for the overall classification each day, monitoring that time in the hopes of having the lowest overall time at the end of 3 weeks. And there are certain riders that do that, like your Tadej Pogačars, like your Jonas Vingegaard. Those are the 2 favorites racing for the overall. And I want to focus in on stage 13 to give you more details. First, let's look at stage 12 and how the GC stood going into stage 13. Jonas Vingegaard led Tadej Pogačar going into that stage by 17 seconds. Pogačar set in 2nd overall. Then it was Jai Hindley back at 2:40 and 3rd overall in the general classification. On the Grand Colombier stage, it was Mikel Kwiatkowski, a stage hunter, that won the stage. But never mind that. That's not important for what we're looking at for the yellow jersey overall classification, because Tadej Pogačar finished in 3rd place, Jonas Vingegaard in 4th place on the stage. And the time difference is, well, 4 seconds. Tadej was 50 seconds behind Mikel Kwiatkowski. That doesn't matter for this though. He was 4 seconds ahead of Jonas Vingegaard. So when we're looking at the time on the next day, Tadej Pogačar moved even closer, within 9 seconds of Jonas Vingegaard. Remember, at the start of the day, he was within 17 seconds. Now he's at 9 seconds. And the difference was there, 4 seconds, the split between them, the physical split between them at the stage finish, and the 4 seconds in time bonus Tadej Pogačar got, 10, 6, and 4, remember, at the finish line for the top 3 finishers. The 4 seconds in time bonus Tadej Pogačar got, and Jonas Vingegaard at that point had an overall time, remember, all the times are added up, at 53 hours, 48 minutes, and 50 seconds. And Tadej Pogačar, similar, but at 9 seconds slower, so he's 9 seconds back in the overall classification. And there are big gaps the further you go down the overall classification. If you would have looked at the end of stage 14, you would have noticed Wout Poels far down, around about 1 hour back from the race leader, Jonas Vingegaard. That enabled him to get freedom to go on the attack and eventually win the mountain stage the next day up to Mont Blanc, Saint-Gervais. Massive stage win for him, but that only worked because he'd been losing time in the previous days and he was able to get some freedom by the top GC riders. Otherwise, in theory, those riders are stronger than Wout Poels, but they can't be racing for the win every day, so they allowed him and some other riders to have their freedom and get the stage win. Now, of course, that day, Poels and the rest of the escapees, they've moved up in the overall classification thanks to the time gained on the overall, but that wasn't their objective. Their objective was to go for the stage win, because being at an hour back in the overall classification, you're not within striking distance of the top three and eventual podium in the Tour de France. Now let's talk about time trials, because those are the only stages in the Tour de France that don't have bonus seconds attached to them to the top three finishers. But we do see time splits made across the board because we don't have a bunch finishing together. In different editions of the Tour de France, you may have 0, you may have 1, or you may have 2 or 3 time trials. For example, in 2024, 2 time trials are on offer. Last year, in 2023, this is where Jonas Vingegaard made a lot of time on Tadej Pogačar. Jonas, at the end of the stage, had 1 minute 38 over Tadej Pogačar. They finished first and second. Remember, no time bonuses on offered, so their GC times will reflect that 1 minute and 38 second gap. So at the end of that stage, at the end of the TT there, it was Jonas Vingegaard leading the race after 63 hours and 6 minutes and 53 seconds of racing by 1 minute and 48 seconds over Tadej Pogačar. Time trials are crucial in the Tour de France, but so are those bonus seconds at the end of every other stage. And also, what's been appearing recently in the Tour de France, special bonus seconds offered on particular stages throughout the race. And those stages, they'll usually offer the bonus seconds at the top of the climb before a descent finish, usually on 5 different stages, and the organizer will decide ahead of the Tour de France. This year, the first stage that has such bonus seconds is stage 2, the Bologna stage, the final climb over San Luca before descending down to Bologna. And what are those times on offer? Well, they're 8, 5, and 2 seconds to the top 3 riders over the climb. And I want to focus on the Jouplain stage, the stage that took us down to Morzine, stage 14, where Carlos Rodriguez won. Up front, Tadej Pogačar attacked near the top of the Jouplain. You remember there was some controversy. He was held up by the motorbike. Then Jonas Vingegaard countered. He led over the top of the climb. Tadej in second. Jonas picked up the 8 seconds. Tadej 5. Then later, back behind, it was Carlos Rodriguez passing Adam Yates to get the 3rd spot over the top of the climb. 2 seconds and bonus seconds. Carlos Rodriguez would join the 2 up the front and pass them, taking the stage win. And then you have to calculate in the bonus seconds for the stage win. 10, 6, and 4. So on the stage, it was Carlos Rodriguez in first, Tadej Pogačar in second, and Jonas Vingegaard in third. Carlos Rodriguez got 10 seconds for the win, Tadej Pogačar 6, Vingegaard 4. But you add in the other placings over the top of the Jouplain, well, Carlos Rodriguez earned a total of 12 seconds, Pogačar 11, and Jonas Vingegaard 12. So even though Vingegaard finished third on the day, right there with Tadej Pogačar, he actually moved up by 1 second thanks to those bonus seconds in the overall classification. So at the end of the day, it reflected that Tadej Pogačar, instead of being 9 seconds back, was now 10 seconds back, all thanks to bonus seconds at the end of stage 14. The basic points to remember besides the bonus seconds, well, the team tactics, how the teams work for their overall leader to help them save time. And then penalties. If you do something wrong against the rules, in addition to Swiss francs, yes, they use the Swiss currency to fine riders, they could also fine you in time, in seconds. So be on the lookout for that if a rider does something incorrect, because the UCI, the race jury, can penalize them. The last factor is the last stage. Typically, it's a sprint finish in Paris. A sprint day, a day of celebration, and you won't see any classification change on the final day because it's a day where the GC riders are relaxing. They just want to finish on the line there on the Champs-Élysées, let the sprinters have their day. So though we thought about it over the years, what could happen if someone crashes, this or that? Well, unless they break their leg and they can't continue, the overall classification isn't going to change on the final day. But this year, 2024, And back in 1989, the last time this happened, we have a time trial for the final day. So that means on the final day, everything's up for grab in the Tour de France. Now knowing all of this, how the addition of time works each day to determine the yellow jersey at the end of the stage, the bonus seconds that go into play, perhaps time penalties, you'll be able to do the calculation. So after 3 weeks of racing, you can determine who is the winner of the Tour de France.